I'm ready. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to what should have been tax day today, April 15th. Nice sunny Wednesday morning, and a whole lot of things have changed since last week. So let's get right into it. Again, welcome, and let's take a look at what the 7 steps are that we need to do now this week for your business. Well, listen, my name is Rick Plasket. I'm a business coach with Action Coach. For those of you that have been on for the last few weeks, welcome back. For those of you that are new here, again, welcome. I'm a West Point grad, veteran Army leader. Some of the things that I've talked about in the past was the rapid response forces. What's important right now is one of my assignments was the intelligence officer for the 101st Airborne, an engineer battalion there. What an intelligence officer does for the unit is they're responsible for going out and pulling in bits and pieces of information about a current event and then putting them together, connecting the dots, and giving the commander the background information they need for the environment in which they work. That's the part that's important today. That part was used later in my life when I was working for Delta Airlines right after 9/11, and we were looking at all of the different moving parts of how to get that company back up and running after the 9/11 shutdown. Just a little bit of fun. If you haven't been out to the grocery store, just take a deep breath and consider. It's always been a joke for decades after the original Star Trek, but who was the expendable crewman? It was always a person wearing the red shirt. Notice I'm not wearing red this morning, okay? Listen, what we need to look at and where we start. We were going to focus on you this morning because without you, your business can't be strong. Some of the things that we have looked at have transpired. You know, I was starting to put this thing together last week, and I was really focused on the hurry up and wait. And then all of the stimulus packages started arriving in people's bank accounts yesterday and the day before, and they're going to continue to arrive. So things have changed. There is now money in people's bank accounts, and that is a new environment for this week. What do we do with that money? So that's one of the things we're going to focus on. What do you need to do right now? The theme continues to be, this is a journey. This isn't a destination, and there's going to be a whole lot of changes going on. Just like your GPS, we need to recalculate. Up until now, the number one focus has been to survive. Still need to survive. The focus also needs to include the breakout. We're starting to hear of the end and the breakout date. No one can tell you where that's going to be. We've got intelligent people all over the country right now that are talking to us, and they're running their models, and no one can really say when that date will be. However, we know it's coming, and we need to be prepared for that. So we need to learn and learn quickly what new looks like. We need to plan for how we start up, or what a startup and a breakout is going to mean to your business, even if you're running at full strength right now. And then what are the actions that you have to take? In the past, we've looked at, Action Coach looks at 90-day chunks of time. In this environment where we are, we need to bring that focus in a whole lot closer. We need to be looking at 2-week chunks of time and stay focused on just the next 2 weeks and the 2 weeks after that and the first 2 weeks after the breakout begins. So 90 days is always critical. 5-year plans are still critical. 3-year, 1-year plans are critical. Our focus and our magnifying glass needs to be right now, the next 2 weeks, okay? What are we talking about and what's the structure? The 7 steps that we continue to look at is, number 1, be the leader. It all starts with you. Your business is only as strong as you are. Identify your support. We've got support all over the place now. The money's coming in. We have people that can help. And the situation keeps changing. really focus on that piece and how that affects you as your business, you and your business right now. I've already mentioned it in the last slide. Your target is short-term goals. Short-term goals and milestones. Those are the two that we need to look at this week. Adjusting our plans, getting those plans ready for the breakout. Adapting your operations. This is getting to be kind of fun. I've seen memes all over the place. You know, operations have to change continually, and we have to adapt them. Right now, more than ever, we got to keep our people safe. But then what is keeping people safe, both mentally and physically, look like after people start to go back to work? Plan for the recovery and your new break. You know, the priorities right now is to start looking at your breakout plan. Okay, we have survived to this point. You and your business have survived. Even if you are in shutdown, you and your business have survived. We need to continue to survive. We also need to plan for what's it look like when we get started again. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm at the age right now where when I wake up in the morning, things start to go snack, crackle, and pop when I get out of bed. I need to prepare and not just spring out of bed and expect that I can go about my day. Okay, so what does this look like? The cycle of change. Gee, we've talked about change a lot. We start out with a status quo. Okay, status quo before the crisis, or status quo just yesterday and then today. Okay, it moves around. We get a little bit of new information come through, and we start to have to implement that. From that, we have to adjust our business, and then we go back to a new status quo. Well, there's a little thing in here that isn't normal, and that's called chaos. Okay, every time we have new information and we try something new, there's some chaos because things change. So we adapt, we adjust, we go to a new status quo. This circle in today and for the next several weeks, you better be looking at this circle running in fourth gear, not first gear. And if you don't have your running shoes on and have a system in your business of being able to look at each of these 5 different determination or 5 different spots of your business and determine where you're supposed to be and what's the next step, you're going to get run over. Okay, so again, things change, they change quickly, they're going to continue to change very rapidly over the next month. Okay, so be the leader. What does that mean? Well, what's changed from last week? The stimulus money is starting to hit your bank accounts. Now there's 2 groups out there. There's a group, well, actually 3. There's the group that has received their money. There's the group that has applied and the money will be coming. And then there's a group that hasn't applied yet. Well, you know what? Even the group that hasn't applied yet, you guys can be the fast second adapters. Okay. You've seen what happens. You know that it's now working. It's still time to put your applications in to get that money. Okay. The breakout date. Everybody's talking about the breakout, going back to business, getting out of an economic lockdown. We know it's coming. We just don't know when. So be informed. Guys, this is complex. This really is complex. And I'll be showing you that in the next slide or 2. What we have is a whole lot of information, a whole lot of opinions. We need to figure out what's important to us. Focus on that. And now is absolutely the time to have a plan A, plan B, and plan C, even for the next 2 weeks. If we don't have backup plans, you're going to get run over by that wheel. Okay. What I'd like to do is show you this chart, and let's delve into that a little bit from you as the leader. Okay. It's about you as the leader. If we look at a timeline, last month was the unknown. We didn't know what was going on. Everything was shut down. We didn't really have information on any of this. We were sitting and waiting for the information. Now we're in a phase of, we have lots of information and people are now starting to form opinions on that. And you can hear opinions all over our society. What's real, what's not? That's not really important. What's really important for you as the leader is how you internalize that and what do you do about it. We know that there's going to be a breakout and you're going to be able to go to the action. It's not here yet. So that's almost a brick wall. What we need to do is focus right here. What happens when we receive information and opinions? And as leaders, we should be receiving a lot of that. The challenge is when we receive those, the first place, by human nature, the first place that we go is to an emotion. It's a common reaction. Somebody says food chain is going to be interrupted. Somebody says we are going to open on April 30th. Someone says, no, it's not going to be until November. The first reaction that human beings have is an emotional reaction. Now, what naturally happens after that? That emotion leads to an action. We get upset and all of a sudden we're going to do something based on that emotion. You as a leader need to be aware of that, because actions will lead to results. Okay? The challenge that we have is if we're not aware of the emotion that we're feeling, we take the wrong actions and it takes us off course. If it takes us off course, we don't get to the results. We don't get to the survive and the thrive. Okay? There's a piece in here that's we don't really pay attention to directly, and that is between the information and opinions and the emotion. We have stepped on my mic cord again. We have thoughts, okay? Thoughts come from our experience, our past experience. We delve into our default, what it used to be. And we don't even realize this, but that drives our emotions. What we really need to focus on to be strong is to be aware we need to be aware of what those thoughts are. So this is a quality control check. We see something on the news, we jump to an emotion. Before we go to action, we need to be aware of what's the thoughts that are driving that emotion, so that we are looking at the action and is it going back to where we really want to go and get the results that we want to do. I know that looks like a little bit of complexity there. That's why we were talking about being informed is a very, very complex situation right now. Being self-aware of your thoughts and your emotions will help you, one, stay healthy yourself, and two, make sure that your team and your business is healthy. This is also a process that takes a whole lot of self-discipline to do. Doesn't take as much to do if you can talk to somebody. So if you have somebody to talk to across the dinner table, somebody to talk to within your company or outside, talk to them. Identify what's going on, be aware of emotions and actions, and have some input. You'll lead to the right results. Okay, so it's a little complex there, but being the leader and being aware of what's driving yourself is absolutely going to help you stay healthy, stay strong, and be able to drive to the point that you want to do. Okay, again, your company is only as strong as you are. All right, so that's the first part, is keeping yourself healthy. The next part is, what are you going to do in today's situation? And that is, you need to recognize what's changing. Okay, there's a whole lot of change we can't control, but you as a leader can drive a whole lot of change right now. So what is that change that you have to do? We need to look at right now. We're at the turning point right now. We started at the beginning point when all of a sudden we were a little bit aware of the virus, and then we got shut down and everybody's not knowing what to do. We are at a turning point now. We know enough about the virus and what it's doing. We know enough about the economy to know what it has done, and we need to be prepared for coming out of this. We don't know when that's going to happen. I said that before. I'll say it many, many times. We don't know what's going to happen, but we do know there's an end. We do know that business is going to reopen. Now is the time to take the information that you're hearing and have open, honest, diverse communications with your people and your trusted advisors. With that information, we need to be planning and ready to act quickly and decisively. So those are the two things of a healthy leader, is to sit down now and have plans. And not a long-term plan either. A plan for this week, a plan for 2 weeks from now. Plan, and get information. You know, one of the advantages I have is I coach clients all across the country. And it's very, very interesting in this last week to hear the difference of their viewpoints from those clients I have in Georgia to the ones that I have in Los Angeles to the ones here in Kentucky. We all have a differing point of view. We all have a different experience and a different emotion. We need to use that because that's the reality. And we need to be the leader to drive in our current environment. So that's the point, is to plan. Once we have the plan, be ready to act decisively. So that's being the leader. The next thing that we have to do is to continue to assess our situation. Identify our support. Assess is the next one. Last week, our focus was really, truly on the people. What do we do with our people and the finances? Because we hadn't got the money yet. The money's coming in. We know that there are people that are there. We know that the finances are there. What's changed this week is the operations. We need to look at, number one, again, keeping people safe. But then number two is, what do your operations look like for the rest of this turning point time before we hit the breakout? And how do those operations have to change for your new environment? So identifying the support that can help you in that area is where you're really going to benefit. Again, I have said a number of times, logistics is the thread that's holding society together right now, and your logistics is going to change. I mean, look at the drive-through window in takeout and how we experience restaurants right now. Operations have changed. They're going to change for your business too. Can you imagine what your customer-facing experience could be coming out of this? Those are the operations that we need to start planning for now. So customer service and operations are going to be different. We need to have plan A, B, C, and probably a whole lot more on what does that look like. Community is always there. It's in the support, but those are the areas that we need to look at. Where's your support come from today? Once we understand and know where the support is, now we get to assessing your situation. And listen, assessing the situation, this has to happen morning, noon, and night, when you wake up, when you go to bed, every single day. And it needs to be something that you do with a couple of other resources that are helping you. Bounce ideas off of people, because there are huge changes. We're in a hurry up and wait, okay? We signed up for the stimulus package and we had to wait. The money is now in your account and we have to wait for the breakout. Guess what? That's the new normal. And yet there's plenty of opportunities out there. I put 2 dates up there. You know, who knows? We know somebody was talking about somewhere maybe the end of April opening up. We also know that the stimulus package is supposed to go for 8 weeks. That's somewhere around June 15th. So those are some milestone dates. They don't really mean anything right now other than some dates to plan toward, and we know that those are going to roll. Our plans go from survival to shifting towards moving forward. And now's the time to just research. Research. We have parts of the country that are opening up at different times. And there are many, many people in many countries and many economic theaters that are way in advance of us. Look at what they're doing. Take notes. Put those notes together on a big Post-it board and be ready to use those notes for your own plans. As we do those plans, I've said this again and again and again, and it is absolutely true. We got to stay on this. Your planning, your mindset needs to be in yes and. Yes, I'm doing this and I'm preparing for that. If you go to an either or, you've put all your eggs in one basket, and if that basket changes, like it did with the coronavirus, boom, your whole business is shut down. What if? We got to ask those what if questions. What if this happens? What if I'm the first out? What if I decide to wait and be the second out? Okay. What if is a great planning and assessment tool right now. We need to be able to do this quickly. We look at today's information and pull it in, because there are little pieces of nuggets of gold right now that you won't see tomorrow, or you won't see the day after, and yet they're absolutely vital to your business right now. And we need to be ready, continually be ready. Again, I talk about the military and assessing our situation. You know, we got to go into plan A, plan B, plan C all the time. We would go on an airborne mission. First thing in the morning, the entire unit moves to the airfield. We suit up with our parachutes. We get all of our gear together, and it's usually wait because there's a weather situation, the plane isn't ready, whatever. But we had to continue to look at what were we supposed to be doing? How can we use this time where we're waiting to continue to plan, continue to prepare, and continue to look at what if scenarios? Be ready and run that often. Okay, from assess your situation, the next move that we need to look at, the next step, is to review your goals. And I said this at the beginning of this webinar, and it's absolutely true. Long range goals, hold on to them, but we need to look at short range. What is your goal for this week? If you haven't gotten the stimulus money into your bank account, that should be your goal right now. That's a once in a lifetime opportunity. It might be a second when they come up with a second package, but don't miss out on the first to go for the second. What is your goal for this week? And be happy to achieve that goal and celebrate it. Okay, that may only be a virtual happy hour with a couple of your friends tipping a glass back, but you still got to celebrate that you got that done. Those of you that got the money and the money is in your bank account right now, did you celebrate? Did you at least have an extra dessert tonight? Okay, celebrate those, because we don't want to forget that these are positive steps moving forward. Next 2 weeks, what are the first 2 weeks of the breakout look like? You know, those are things, again, plan. And part of that plan and part of your goals is to put that down on one piece of paper. Who and what can help me get to these goals? In social distancing and being locked down at home, there's a whole lot of mentality that seeps into our brain about, I'm Hercules, I can do it all myself. Yeah, no, there's a whole society out there. You've got this webinar going on right now. Pick up the phone and call somebody. There's resources there to help you. Planning a goal alone usually means you're going to miss something. Usually means that you're not seeing the big picture. Find out who and what can help you get to those goals. Where's your opportunity? And this is a golden opportunity to get coaching. You know, I've said it a couple times before. Well, let me be clear on this. My view is a mentor gives you advice. A consultant gives you a report. A coach understands where you are, what your abilities are, what your strengths are, and they coach you to get a result. Results and goals are what we need to focus on right now to get going forward. Okay. And again, what is your goal? New target markets. Okay. This is going to change. You're coming out of this. There's going to be new opportunities and different opportunities. What are they? If we shoot off of going to the wrong target market, you're going to be way off base and we won't get the gold medal. Okay. Adjust our plan. Listen, let's just focus on the payroll protection program right now. It's there. It's now working slowly and maybe not as much as you want, but we need to get your plan set up for that. My advice, what I'm telling our clients all across Action Coach Louisville, is to set up a separate folder for the payroll protection program. It's not so important. I've talked to a number of CPAs and bankers, and coming out of this a year from now, when we have to validate what we did, it's not so important as to what the money was that came in and where it went, where it is and how it came in. What's important is that bold bullet there of tracking it. Okay, absolutely tracking it. Now, part of that, we've got a bullet here that says set up a different bank account. That's a very, very good way of being able to track it. If you have put all of that fund into one account and you draw your payroll out of that, you draw everything else out of that, it's a pretty close, tight thing that is easy to pull out and justify where the money went. Okay. If not that, QuickBooks does a real good job of tracking where your payroll is. Your payroll company tracks where your payroll is. Okay. So all of those are resources. What you need to do is find and set the mindset. Imagine that when this is all over, November, December, for next year's tax preparation, someone is going to audit you. Okay, we want to make that audit easy. So when the concept of that forward time comes, you want to be able to point to somebody and say, pull out that one page and have all of your payroll protection program, money coming in, money going out on that one page. Now, here's another way to track it. And this is really, really critical, is imagine that every dollar that you get in that fund, 75 cents has to go to payroll. The rest of it doesn't matter. You can use it on a number of different things. You can't go out and buy a new set of golf clubs with it. Okay, that's just going to cause you problems in the future. Track your payroll and ensure that that's 75% of everything that you have used the payroll protection plan for this week. Okay, so if we keep that this week, what did I do with my payroll? That's 75%. I got the other 25% that I can use for utilities, for rent, for mortgage, for the other things that that's supposed to go to. If we set it up that way and adjust your plan now going forward, guess what? You've earned yourself a grant. If you don't do that, we could be into loan territory. If any of this just sounds daunting to you, or you're just not sure about it, or you think your situation is unique, look, that's what we're here for. That's what we're doing with all of our clients right now. It's simple, but it's not easy. So talk to somebody, have a coach that can guide you through, and you'll have a grant instead of a loan. Okay, so that's the first part of adjusting your plan, is make sure that the money here is the money that's going to be where you need to be. Okay. Change your business model. Okay. Welcome the new normal. Talking with a number of people, I've had the feedback. Rick, how did you know to get toilet paper 2 weeks before the shelves went bare? Rick, how did you know to get the cleaners and whatnot before the shelves went bare? Again, I go back to my intelligence officer time period where I pull little bits of information and put them together. And, my point right now is if you look at what's happening in other parts of the world, in your business, you need to be planning for some sort of face covering and maybe the digital thermometers too. Okay. I'm talking with a number of service clients that we have, HVAC, plumbers, roofers, those businesses that have to face their customers and they have to face them in their home. What's the biggest concern that those homeowners have right now? Number one, something's busted. Okay. But number two is this person healthy coming in? Well, imagine if your technicians showed up with a handheld thermometer, took their temperature right there, and they had a mask, gloves, and booties on, would that help the homeowner feel safe in a new normal? Okay, that's the point right now. Small pivots. Small pivots is what we need to do. Virtual is here to stay. Guess what? This is the fourth time that I've been doing this, 4 weeks into this. Remote working is here to stay. What does your customer contact look like? That's here to stay as well. Short-term opportunities. And then here's the question is, are you going to be the first at the breakout? Or is it wise for you to be maybe waiting for the breakout to see what happens? So what we want to do is go back to a flip chart now and look at how things have changed. Okay, so the next flip chart I brought out is all this information comes in. And it comes in, and I just said Facebooks or face masks and thermometers. Ooh, what do I do with that? Okay, how do I use that? Well, the first thing you need to look at is every piece of information. Consider a target. Okay, is this something that you can control? Or is that something that only concerns you? Okay, concern outside of the crisis scenario. Concern is the weatherman saying, ooh, it's going to rain this afternoon. It's possibility of hail, heavy rains, and heavy and strong winds. That's a concern. Your control is, okay, make sure the car is parked inside, grab my raincoat, grab my umbrella, and grab my rain boots. I can control that. So everything that comes into you right now, consider this bullseye. Is it part of something I can control, or is it simply a concern? And if you imagine this as a donut, at the end of this 30-day lockdown, 2-month lockdown, whatever the lockdown is, if you eat too much and you take too many bites out of your donut, you're going to be a little fat. But if you stay focused on the donut hole, then you're going to come out and your clothes are still going to fit. Okay. The next thing from this, now this is your mindset. Now, where do we apply that mindset? Again, we talked about goals. This is a real complex chart, but let me walk you through it. With your goals and your timeline, we are about here, okay? And that is, if we look at our money, before now we were shut down, money was low. We've got the stimulus, money is now a little higher. Okay? It's not where we want it to be, but it's a little higher. Our focus and our priorities, absolutely, 100% number one, survival. We got to continue that. And this is a hard part because this has now become a norm and we can get a little soft and a little lax on this. And this is that, and those things can hurt you. Okay, so stay focused on the survival right now. But then after that, we're looking at planning and preparing because the turning point is coming. Again, in that planning and preparing, it's not just one plan. We got to look at A, B, C. What if your customers come back? And I'll show you a little more of those and what goes into that. The concept here is our goals right now, goal to survive, goal to stay focused on where we are right now, and our goal now adds plan and prepare for this point, okay? And I put in the money graph here, there's going to be a dip. You have startup costs that are going to get you going. Even if you're running right now, when everybody goes back onto the roads and starts to open up, there's going to be a change in your operation, and that's going to be a little bit of a money draw, likely. So money may dip. Then we come out, and there's really two parts of the post-release or the breakout phase. There's that first part, and you need to decide with your business, does it make sense to me to be first? Will I have an advantage? Will I collect more customers if I am first and beat my competition? Okay, in that case, I need to act fast. Okay, there's other scenarios where you may not want to be first. You want to be the fast second one out of the chute. Okay. We live in horse country, and every time I've watched, I'm starting to learn about horse races, and the first guy to the first turn is not always the horse to win. Sometimes the horse to win comes from behind. And that's what we have to plan for and assess right now. Okay. And look at this period right here comes into your people. And I'll get into more of that later, but some of you may have laid off people. When do you bring them back? Do you bring them back before and get them ready? Do you bring them back to be ready for this? Or even will they come back? Critical in your changing of your business model is this part right here, the new business model, okay? These are the things that it's going to change. And I've got a slide on this, but we need to brainstorm that. Get with people and start to talk about how does your customer experience change? Okay, so again, changing your business model is part of your planning. Okay, now adapt your operations. Operations are going to change. I've said it on the last goal. I'm saying it again here. People first. Their safety is important. Going forward, what needs to change? Will you be opening on or after the breakout date? Again, that's a personal choice on your business, and you need to really plan and look at the pros and cons of that. What does full speed look like? Okay. And then here's a critical part. Can your suppliers keep up with you? Can your customers keep up with you? This is where you need to look at asking for advice, researching, brainstorming this, working with a coach. We have a simple assessment tool that helps you understand what do you know, what do you need to find out in order to make good decisions. That's a process that we do with everybody. It takes the most complex decisions and turns them into something very simple. When we know what we need, we know what we have, and then we put those together, we know how to act. Okay, so adapting your operations is step 6. The next part of this is your people. Okay, I'm sorry, not your people, sales and marketing. How many of us are really getting frustrated with getting some sales emails right now? Listen, don't. Everybody is trying to stay in business, and those sales emails, simply look at those as, hey, this guy's still in business. That's a good thing, okay? But when we look at our sales and marketing after the breakout, you got to ask yourself, does your target market change? Is the customer you had before this lockdown, is it the same as you're going to have coming out of this? Does their purchasing process change? Yeah, it does. Okay. Look at what Amazon's doing to hire people right now, because we're all buying from our couch and we're all having it delivered. That process is here to stay. Okay. So does your sales process change to adapt to that? Here's another thing. When we have over 16 million people on unemployment right now, and when the company or when the economy comes back, are they going to have the ability to purchase? We've got a client here with Action Coach Louisville that is it's a body shop, okay? An automobile body shop. And, sadly, there's some oops that happens even with the shutdown. Well, if your car gets messed up and you're not working, you still need your car to get around, but you can't pay for it. They've come up with solutions on that ability to pay, and they have taken deductibles that you would usually pay in an accident, and they have arranged for customers to have a grace period of 1, 2, 3 months, and then 6 months payment terms after that with 0 interest rates. That's their focus on recognizing their target customer has changed and how can they be a solution to their customers' needs right now. So again, that one story, that one client is showing how the purchasing ability has changed. They have adapted to be the solution for the people right now, and they're showing compassion. Wow, what more do you need to do to make sure that you are meeting everybody's needs and meeting your customers' needs? Virtual's here to stay. If your new marketing isn't virtual, then you're going to be missing out. Be unique. Okay. Again, we get so many emails coming in, so many webinars coming in, because that's the way of communicating. That's the only way to communicate now. No, it's not. Be creative in your marketing. If you're unique, you're going to make it. I've got one of my clients that it was fun. It was really fun. So he created a webinar series for Facebook. What does a board cleaner do? And he's got little things of, cleaning the carpet, cleaning the dog, cleaning the clothes with a pressure washer. He is just having fun with it, but he's unique. And in putting these little snippets out, he's grown his Facebook follower for his business almost 100 new people a day, because he's being unique and people enjoy something that's a little funny. Everything else is too serious right now. So be unique, see how you can capture people's attention right now and get them off of all of the stuff that's the unknown and the confusion, and just have a little levity, and they'll remember you, okay? So marketing and sales is absolutely a step that we need to focus on. The next one is your people, okay? Your people. All right, staffing. Last week, we said the mindset of your people was fear, okay? Now it's confusion. We're starting to see unemployment checks come in. We're starting to see the payroll protection program come in, and you're probably confused and they're confused, okay? What do we do with staffing? This is a planning, again, plan A, plan B, plan C. And there was a couple of things that shocked me when I was coaching my clients this week. And one of them was, what if your employees don't want to come back to work? Never thought of that one. We worked it through. Why do they not want to come back to work? Because unemployment plus the federal stimulus, to them, they've got more money coming in than if they come back to work. As the leader and the owner of the business, we need to help them to make the right decision there, okay? And what does current cash flow mean versus lifetime cash flow? What's the importance of coming back to work? How are you going to keep them safe and keep them feeling like they are productive? But that was a question I wasn't prepared for when it first came up. I am now, okay? Changing your staff. Again, we looked at that breakout point. Do you do it before they announce the release and when we go back to business, or do you wait until after? Do you do it right now? Okay, the stimulus package, if you take it, the 8 weeks starts as soon as that money hits your account, okay? So you need to be looking at your payroll from the time that money hits your account going forward. If you don't use that money on payroll because you decide not to bring people back, then you need to be prepared to return that money. Otherwise, it becomes a loan and you don't want that. You need to be prepared for a new labor market. Listen, before this crisis hit, I know that all across every single environment that I was coaching, they were saying, I can't find people. I can't find people. We would drive through town and there would be help wanted signs all over the place. In Kentucky alone, we got 250,000 people that are on unemployment right now. The labor market is going to change. How do you use that to your advantage? Again, if you don't know, it's time to get with somebody that can help you, like a coach, okay? What's your business volume going to be when you come back? Listen, you got to staff for not what you had before, but you need to be looking at, who are the good people? Who do you want to keep going, and who do you need as part of your organization? And be prepared to do what you need to do to get them here. You also need to be recognizing that, coming back, you may not be the same business volume. You may be significantly more. I mean, come on, a nail salon and a hair salon, is their volume going to be up after this? Yeah, yeah, at least for the first month, their volume is going to be huge. How do they address that volume? Can they do that with more people, or do it a different way of running their business model? The other side of this is, we've had discussions and I've had debates and we have different points of views. But if you look at a restaurant experience, a restaurant, to get us back in, as human beings, likely is going to be taking out half the bar stools and half the tables to give social distancing. So if they're looking at half their capacity, do they need a full staff to come back? Those are things that we have to look at. Life is going to be different. Okay, so we may be looking at going forward, and you may have to go backward as well. Okay, so looking at your change of your staff, this is where we've got to really come in. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, and in each of those plans, we need to be looking at how quickly can we move, how quickly can we change, how quickly can you bring those people back, all right, and be able to answer the questions of what if they don't want to come back because they like being unemployment right now. Okay, they like sitting in their fuzzy slippers all day locked down at their house. Okay, maybe those aren't the people that you need, and maybe the people that you need are former cruise ship employees. Those people are going to be looking for new work, and they've got interesting talents that may be applicable in your labor market. Okay, plan for your recovery, plan for your growth. This is a cycle just like we saw 9/11, just like we saw in 2008, and just like we're likely to see again sometime in the future. Economic summer is followed by a fall. That fall was last month. We're in the winter. People are starting to want to come out of this. So is it ending soon? We hope so. We want it to. We're wishing it. We're praying it. Will it? No one knows right now. But we do know it's going to end. Has to end. The spring, the spring economic of coming back up that chart and having things come back to life. There's a million different articles out there. Some say it's going to come roaring back fast and we're all going to be happy and going out all over the world to different sporting events and restaurants and whatnot. Others are going, whoa, not so fast. Going to come back a lot slower. There's a whole lot of moving pieces here. Most likely, though, spring is going to be short. It's not going to be multiple years. It's going to be short. And then we're back into an economic cycle. Economic summer cycle is where business is good. Your business can grow again. We just need to make sure we're not hibernating for any of these seasons. Okay, this doesn't change. This slide hasn't changed in 4 weeks. It's not going to change again because this is a reality. We just need to take a look at where we are. We need to plan for the next step in this cycle and be ready for it. Okay, so in summary, change is normal. Change is coming a whole lot faster now than it did just 2-3 weeks ago. We need to be ready for that. Being the leader, folks got to be positive and communicate. Now is more important than ever because most everybody is kind of confused. And when they're confused, they form that emotion. We want to make sure that you focus that emotion where you want it to go because that's part of your plan. Okay, identifying your support. The payroll protection plan is out there. If you've got it, great. What are you going to do with it? How can you use that to propel yourself to your new future and not just maintain and tread water? Okay, assess your situation. We've been assessing it on survival mode. Now we have to focus on going forward mode and assess it rapidly, daily. Everything needs to be ready for your plan A, your plan B, your plan C. Assessing this changes. Listen, when I first put this webinar together this weekend, I was all looking at hurry up and wait and what's the whole concept of being aggravated because you can't move, hurry up and wait. And then all of a sudden, bam, Monday and Tuesday, my phone starts ringing and texts start popping all over the place of my clients have the stimulus money in their bank account. Rick, can we start with what we had planned to do? Boom. Whole thing changed throughout the webinar, and we focused on what's real right now. That's assessing your situation. Reviewing your goals. Folks, Action Coach is known for 90-day planning, 90-day planning, 90-day planning, okay? Still stays there. Now, for the next month or so, we need to be focused with you on 2-week planning. What are the milestones? Did we hit it? Check. Next milestone. check. Next milestone, 2 weeks. 2 weeks is what we need to set your business metronome to, not 90 days. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and make sure that we stay on track with that. What's the side effect of that? If there's something important in this 2 weeks or the last 2 weeks that we didn't do, it's going to pack up real quickly and you're going to be left behind. So 2 weeks in the speed of setting your goals and moving to the next ones is where we need to be. Okay. The clients that we've had that are focused on this are absolutely positioned. And you know what? It's not just positioned. It's not the bottom line of what business going up or business going down. You know what our clients are experiencing? And every last one of them, I've talked with all three of the coaches. Somewhere in the last 2 weeks, our clients have said, you know, I slept well last night. Don't like everything that's going on, but I know I'm ready for it and I slept well. They're not waking up in the middle of the night. Man, it helps me feel good and sleep at night as well. Adjusting your plan. Listen, use other people's experiences. We are not having to be the first here. There are things that are going on around us and we need to grab the best practices from all over the economy, all over the state, all over the world, and pull those together and say, can we use this and can we put this into our plan? Adapt your operations. Again, forward thinking. You know, we started out with hand washing, social distancing. What can you add to help your people stay safe and feel safe when they start to come back together? Maybe it is face masks. I don't know. There's pros and cons and stories all over the place. But if it turns out to be yes, and you don't have the face masks, now you're behind the curve. You know, the thermometers, you know, that's me and that's my gut feel, but I think those are going to be part of life. If we look at post 9/11, you had to go through a metal detector and take off your shoes to get on an airplane. If we look at post coronavirus breakout, I think that masks and thermometers are kind of going to be more of our lifestyle than they were before. Don't be the one looking to buy those on Amazon and, you know, saying, yep, you can buy it, but it's not going to be delivered until the 4th of July. Okay. So be ready for that and look at how your operations have to change, even if you're only doing it for the mental serenity of your people, and do it now. You know, do it now before the shelves are empty. Plan for the recovery and the growth. Be ready for that. It's coming. I want to focus on the underlined word. The 4 weeks that we've done, Action Coach is looking at how do we help you with your crisis action plan. Now it's your breakout plan. And guys, this one is critical because it's not just one plan, it's a whole lot of plans. And find somebody that has the experience with putting those plans together that are right for you. It's not a set specific cookie cutter plan. It's what is right for you and where you are, whether you're going full tilt in your business right now or whether you are completely shut down. Your breakout plan is going to be important to you. So what is that? A crisis breakout plan is a plan for each of these 7 steps. Okay, what does that mean for you and your business? And what I'm offering is my phone number is right there. Give us a call. And what we'll do is we'll review your plan. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we'll review what you have and what you don't have. And if you don't have anything, that's okay too, because in that 20-minute phone call, we'll be able to look at what do you need and how can we help you. Okay, you know, listen, we're here to help and we have a whole array of opportunities for you. You know, we've had past programs and they are still good. And we have absolute focused programs right now that are right for you getting ready for this breakout. Okay? We can help you. Don't be left behind when the breakout happens. Folks, thanks for being here. You know, we've covered 7 new steps. The actual format is the same, but things have changed. And, you know, let me just share with you why, and I have had to fight with my team here at Action Coach Louisville to maintain these 7 steps. You know, imagine your experience going through a McDonald's drive-through window, okay? before the crisis or even in the crisis right now. We know that McDonald's is not the best food for you, but we know what to expect because they are consistent. The 7-step approach that we're looking at this process for is consistent. You know what to expect. What that 7 steps and what you may not know is those 7 steps come from a blend. It comes from a blend of my military experience. We used to have a 5-paragraph operations order, whether that operations was getting up and going out to the field to do physical training in the morning. We would have a 5-step plan for doing that. Okay, so we took that 5 steps and we blended it with best practices from Action Coach all around the globe, and looking at how do we approach your situation and how do we stay consistent so we know that nothing falls through the cracks. Okay, we coach the essentials. Okay, the essentials is what we cover in the 7 steps. If we're not assessing the outside world, then we're planning in a bubble and we're going to miss something. If we're not looking at what our support is, we're planning for us being Hercules. No one's Hercules. Hercules is fictitious. We need to be real, and we need to recognize there's a whole lot of support out there. So those are parts of the pieces that go into the 7 steps. Even if you don't think that that's right for you, give us a call. Give me a call. We'll look at that in just a short half hour. We'll look at those 7 steps and how they apply to you. You may have some superpowers in 2 or 3 of those steps that you don't realize that we could pull out. You may be short in a couple of other areas or not even consider that that's part of your business. And yet, if we don't touch on it and confirm that, yep, we got that covered, we could be blindsided. So again, thanks for being with us. Sign up for next week as well. It's out there on social media, and the registration is there. Share it with somebody else. Let them come in and see the same benefit that you're getting from seeing these each and every single week. And again, have a super day, stay healthy, and thank you for being with us today.